Manchester United destroyed, humbled, dominated, ripped apart, annihilated, circumcised, baptized, buried, cremated, and absolutely humbled at Old Trafford this afternoon. A good opening 17 minutes. Brighton scored against the run of play and then took over proceedings. Yes, there was chances for Manchester United, but again, a big game where Manchester United fail to have clinical edge. The mentality wanes. Players stop working. The manager makes horrendous mistakes with substitutions, and we lose. It was nothing short of embarrassing. Now, I'm taking nothing away from Brighton. I want to mention that early in what I'm about to say, because I don't want people thinking I'm not crediting them. They are one of the best football teams in the Premier League. This was always going to be a hard game. But Man United were in this. Man United could have won this. We had the chances. But I saw the same mistakes today as I have seen under Oli, under Jose, under LVG, and David Moyes. I'm going in on everybody today, but I'm asking a big question as to why. We are covering Tottenham as well, who miraculously came back from 1-0 down in the last couple of minutes. City came from behind. Fucking Liverpool came from behind as well today. All those teams rubbing salt into that wound. But for me, I'm tired. I'm almost at a loss. Now, we can isolate Man United's game, and we can talk about individual errors, and I can do that really quickly. Scott McTominay, for me, should have been tracking that run of Danny Welbeck. Some will say Casemiro, but he was on the wrong side of Casemiro. Casemiro's got to watch the play, so the players behind him, Scott McTominay can see him, doesn't work hard enough to get there. I thought Lisandro Martinez sold himself for the second goal. The butcher today was a goddamn vegan. Pink dyed hair, everything. Vegan. The third goal was just a combination of people not working hard enough and getting back into shape. Do you know why Brighton were hard to beat today? Do you know why they blocked 3 or 4 shots? I guarantee you we're either going to force a brilliant save from Still or go in because they got back in numbers. Man United's goals that we conceded were pathetic. Pathetic. Lack of desire, a lack of work ethic, and keeping in shape. Taking off Rasmus Højlund, I thought was ridiculous. Was he a 9 out of 9, 10 out of 10 performance from him? No. But he was playing well. There's a couple of times the ball didn't stick to him, but it was 2 or 3 other times where it was great hold-up play. He brought others in. He did score a goal, although the VAR angle we saw showed that it went out. The other 2 angles I've seen on pictures showed it was in, but that's another debate for another day. Taking him off was horrendous by the manager. I actually didn't mind the diamond formation we started the game with. It went well. But what he didn't do quick enough today, Ten Hag, was address when Danny Welbeck started dropping deep and dragging our centre-backs out. There was no tactical adjustment from the manager. So he deserves huge criticism for that and taking off Rasmus Højlund. Plus, still not really giving Palestri a chance. Not giving him a go. Made no sense. Now, I understand maybe some of these subs with an eye on Bayern Munich midweek. I understand that. I understand it. But the game was still in our grasp at that point. Man United could have still got a draw, could have still picked up a point, maybe could have still won. Horrendous from Ten Hag today. In-game management today, dreadful. And I also hold the manager accountable, or do I, for the players not working hard. I'm confused now. I don't know where to go with this. And I tell you what, I can call out the lack of quality in players. But we're known as a club that destroys quality players. How do we keep destroying quality players? Why do we always, every season, have games like this consistently, 4, 5, 6, 7 times? We go for a cycle as Man United fans of 1 minute we blame the manager. He can't motivate them. It's his training. It's his tactics. He's a bully. We've said this about all our managers. One way, shape or form, we've said it about all of them. And we kind of give the players a little bit of a pass, unless we don't like the player. And then we blame them. They say they're trash. Can't build a team around. X, Y, and Z. And right now it's Bruno and Rashford. And I get it, criticize them. I'm not defending anyone today, but I've heard that 3 or 4 times before. Then we get a new manager and we stop blaming anything that goes wrong on the manager to begin with. And we look at the players. Got to change all these players. The players ain't good enough. Manager needs time to build his squad. And 18 months, we're back here again. I'm tired. Now, I know what rivals want me to say, so I'm just going to say it. Ten Hag's shit. Sack Ten Hag. Bring in a quality manager. This team challenges for the Premier League. It's the manager. The manager's shit. All my players are shit. No tactical analysis today. We're just shit. The manager has bought trash. He's wasted money. There is no style of play. There is no system. The players don't respect him. The players are on the dressing room. It's not on the Glazers either. The Glazers have done nothing wrong. This is all on the manager. 10 years of failure on this manager and on these players. Every single bit of it. That's all I'm going to say. That's all you're here for. Yeah, we're shit. Man United are absolutely dog poo. In fact, there's no point sacking the manager and bringing somebody else in because we hire bad managers. So I say what we do today is we close the club down. We shut the club down. What's the point of Man United anymore? What's the point? Ten Hag's got to go. He's got to be sacked, right? It's all on him. That's the agenda now. That's the rhetoric. And there's definitely elements to blame on him. I am not saying he is blameless. But I need to look outside of just saying Ten Hag out. It's too basic, people. That is dry toast. Slightly burnt, cold, dry toast. Just sack the manager. He's shit. No style of play, bruv. There was a style of play for the first 17 minutes. It was excellent. Concede the goal and then we fall apart. Is that tactics or is that mentality? You can blame mentality on the manager. Cool. So does he need better players or is it his system? Oh, we need better players. But we've refreshed this squad 3-4 times now. We spent £1.7 billion doing it and it hasn't worked. But new manager will make it better. Well, that would be 6 in 10 years. And we don't get better for a sustained period of time. What's the real problem? Why and I listen, rivals, I want you to help me here. Because sometimes an objective, and I know you're subjective because you hate us, but sometimes a non-emotional head is different. But tell me why Man United can't get it right. I don't just want to hear 7 hard ball. That is dry, burnt, cold toast. Okay, great. It's good banter. I can take it. I'm not bothered. I want you to answer me that question. I think you are the best football community on planet Earth, better than anyone else's platform. Tell me why Man United can't get it right. Because I am tired. I can take getting things wrong. I really did feel we would improve this year. So far, we are going backwards. There is a part of me that just wants to rant about the system and the formations and the subs. I'll call them things out. But I almost feel like it's the same thing over and over again. And what do they say is the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. So I want to do what you want me to do, but I don't feel like it's productive. I'm angry, but I don't know who with. I'm tired, and I don't quite know why. I'm in pain, but I don't know where it's coming from. This club has killed me. Maybe this is it. Maybe I'm in purgatory. Maybe that's what this is. I'm in this in-between weird life, like Patrick Swayze and Ghost. Maybe I'm Bruce Willis in The Sixth Sense. I don't even know I died. But I've done a few good things and a few bad things, and God's gone, I don't know where you're going yet, mate. You're going to live in purgatory and be in pain for a few years. I don't know what this is. I don't know where I am. Am I even real? Legitimately, I love this football club so much. I don't even know what to be angry with. Legit. And you can be angry at Rashford today, don't care. Ten Hag, don't care. Glazers, don't care. You can say or do whatever it's not going to impact me. It is not going to impact me because I don't know what the problem is anymore. Well, I do know what the problem is, but I'm not allowed to say it. It's banned now. We are not calling out the true problem at Man United anymore on the football terrace. It ain't happening. Can't do it. Because no one listens to it anyway. Let's just sack Ten Hag. Let's get it done. What's the point? Let's just sack him. Let's do it all over again. Just, honestly, today was again, I said it at the top. I'm genuinely praising Brighton. They deserve nothing but congratulations for their performance today. They were excellent. They really were. This is just another game against a top team, though, where we just miss so many chances and then we get caught by margins with the VAR ruling out a goal. But this happens too much. And I know everyone's going to come on with different views. And I understand there's a lack of quality in places and everything else. I honestly believe it's the mentality. But where I'm at a loss is how do we fix that? We've tried sacking managers. And this is what I would say to Man United fans. I know I'm being facetious when I'm saying sack Ten Hag. But the people that want him out, I'm not angry with you. But I want to ask you a question. How do you think that is going to improve us? And give me a different answer to what we've given the previous 5 times. Because I just don't see how, if we sack him, who's better than him that we can get right now? Name me some managers in the comment section. How does that person, and people will say Ange Postecoglou will make us better. I guarantee you, if Ange comes to Man United, let's just say now we offer Tottenham £100 million to get him out his contract, and we offer him £100 million to manage us. I guarantee you in 18 months we're back here. I would put my channel on it. I truly believe that. Maybe, though, the answer is we're just not hiring the right managers. People that are over the hill or never quite good enough. Maybe Ten Hag was Fugazi this whole time. Maybe we all got sucked in by the style of football that Ajax play and a few good Champions League runs. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's it. But whether it's players or managers, so many have done brilliantly before they come to us. They come to Manchester United and they die. Old Trafford is littered. It is littered with the skeletons, the corpses, the rotting embers of class. We are a poisoned chalice. Do you know what we do? You ever seen that advert? When that man touches things, they turn to Skittles. That's us, bruv. But we're poison Skittles that you can't even eat. Honestly, I wouldn't let a Man United player. Like if one of my kids saw one of the Man United players, say, don't touch him. You'll curse my child for life. We have so, honestly, I know we're the Red Devils. I think we actually did do a deal with the Devils for 30 years. You'll win most things for 30 years, but after that, you're doomed. Because I can't quite put my finger on it. And some of you will just ask the manager, sack him. Get it. Why is it going to be different next time? I'm finished with this club. I love them, but I'm finished. Onana is mid. Not really. Onana stopped it being 6 or 7 today. I don't think that Onana was at fault for any of that. Again, I just don't think he was at fault for any of the goals today. Personally, but everyone will have different opinions. Ten Hag will be sacked this season. Listen, if he doesn't start winning games, he will get sacked. Simple and straightforward as that. You're right. As an Arsenal fan, the Rashford-Højlund link-up looks scary. Subbing off Højlund was the worst substitution of the season, in my opinion. I completely agree. It was again, back to the game, that was shocking beyond belief from Ten Hag. And that was, when people said that they got a strike, that was probably my first genuine strike against the manager where I was like, you've really let me down there, mate. You've really let me down. I will say it now, De Zerbi will be the most sought-after coach for the top clubs in the near future. Well, this is it. If you're someone that actually, this is me thinking outside my own head. If you're someone that believes Ten Hag's a problem, then I understand why you would say sack Ten Hag and go and get De Zerbi right now. Because he's only going to end up at a better, like another club and do well for them. But did anybody see De Zerbi doing it at United, or do we still see this? As much as I like how he plays and I'd love to have him at United, I still think we'd be here in 18 months. Terry, unfortunately, United and my team Chelsea are one of the same. Sign class players and ruin them. It's so depressing to watch our teams. I hear you, bro. Excuse me. Onana equals Onana. Ten Hag equals Tank Hag. Yeah, we tanked today, bruv. Ten Hag will be hammered by fanboys and is receiving no support from the Glazers. Not no support from the Glazers, not full support. I don't like defending them, but I want to be fair in the analysis that I do. When someone is in his position, they must give up or wait to the end. He was looking like a ghost today. Well, look, I don't even want to make excuses. I think we had, between personal issues, 2 of them out, and injuries, I think there were 8 or 9 players missing from our team today. But still, we should be performing better than that. And look, where I don't blame Ten Hag is the volume of chances in so many games now that we have missed against, even when we got beat by them 1-0 last season, should have been 3 or 4-0 up. Not clinical enough. This will be portrayed as a scalp by the media, but this isn't a big deal. Brighton are a better team, and they beat you. It's not complicated. I mean, there is such an element of truth to that. I hear you. But where they are right to criticize us is hundreds of millions of pounds spent, and we're not getting better. We're not getting better. I am not convinced it's just the manager. That's why, again, I say the same thing I said about Ollie. I'm not against sacking him, but I don't think we'll improve long-term by doing it. Why? Because of 5 other times we've done it and nothing's got better. So again, if somebody can give me an answer as to why it would be better this time, honestly, I swear this is just a present. We don't even need to do it on camera. I'll do it private. I'll pay a mortgage for a year, bruv. I need someone to enlighten me. I want to pay for that knowledge. Because right now, I'm at a loss. What else should we expect? This is normal for how shit United is run. This is a cycle of shit at United. 1 good year followed by 2 shit. Then get a new manager and the cycle repeats itself, blaming the Glazers 100%. The Glazers aren't accountable for individual things that happened today. But again, I can't say it anymore. I'm not allowed to blame the Glazers. I've been told they are not accountable for their club being shit for 10 years. As a Gooner, your problems come from your club culture. Couldn't agree more. It's too much drama behind the scenes, misprofiling players and signings and overpaying for players that don't deserve it. Weak mentality plus some managers' decisions. Mate, I think I agree with every single thing you've said there. And then you don't clear out the old manager. And this is what we'll do. We'll bring in another manager who'll go, yeah, but I need like a completely different group of players to play my style of football. And then we'll start doing it for him. We won't quite get it right. And then it falls apart. And you'll get players that aren't involved anymore and they start becoming insubordinate and throwing their toys out their pram. And then the fanboys and the fake Reds start attacking them online and the pressure builds up, and it's the same thing will happen. I guarantee you could bring in De Zerbi with his assistant manager being Carlo Ancelotti for moral guidance. This would happen. If you got a DeLorean and went back to 1993 and took Fergie from then and brought him back now, in 18 months, we want him sacked. I don't think anyone can save this club. I actually think we're finished. How's life, Terry? United a mess, back to front. Life's good. My life is stupendous. Man United is that one little dark, horrible, nasty Google. I hate them. But I can't hate them because love and hate. I was told once that love and hate are actually very close emotions. It's like, that you see in the movie, someone hates a woman or hates a man, but they end up getting together. Normally, you know what I mean? Like if your girlfriend ever tells you, I really hate that guy, it means she probably fancies him. Just putting that out there. Probably means she's thinking she wants a little bit of the hold. Anyway, 6 changes. Brighton B team, goodness me. Yeah, they were great. They were great today. Quality result, meh performance, horrendous in front of goal. Ref lost the game early and never regained it. Worst performance I've ever seen, pen aside. Do you know what? At Spurs game and the City game, I barely watched. They were on, but I really didn't watch them. It felt like smash and grab from Sheffield United in terms of overall play. But yeah, you got the win and what a moment for Postecoglou in that start he's had. I thought the player and manager double header is going to play its curse again, and you guys got through. Terry, I feel your pain, fam. The total head loss, we have been there, but most objective fans know the issues and you call it out daily. Until the top changes, the roots will still be rot. Exactly. I know what the real issues at the club are, but they'll never get called out. And I don't even mean this rudely. Most of the Man United fans you'll see on the mainstream media in the next few days, they'll barely call it out. And when they do, it gets shut down real quickly and moved on. What it needs is a prominent Man United fan to address what the root issue is, and we only focus on that when they're on their own channels, their own platforms, and when they're on the mainstream media. It's almost getting to a point where we should stop analyzing anything else and just focus on that. But it won't happen because that's actually not sexy. It don't sell. United for top 4 still, Terry? Right now, no. Like, again, your opinions have to be flexible. And right now, you cannot, in any way, shape, or form, think about Manchester United for a top 4 position. City, Arsenal, Brighton, West Ham. I know they lost today, but they've still been better than us. Liverpool, Spurs. I think Newcastle will turn their form around. All those teams are better than us. And there's probably some I'm missing. They are all exponentially better than Man United. Terry, for your mental health, just talk about City and Spurs games and forget United played today. I think people will overreact after a loss. Big up. I can't. I get you, but man can't. But by the way, man, mental health is good. Like, it doesn't impact my mental health. It's just in the isolation of football. If Man United decide to let Ten Hag go, Julian Nagelsmann should come in. Onana should be benched. Our scouting system is terrible. Benched Onana. Interesting take, Jacob. Tell me why, please. Are expectations too high? No. No. They're absolutely not too high with what we spend and what we invest. However, we often address symptoms of our problems and not the problem itself. That's why Man United, I know people don't always like this analysis because the word I'm about to use, cancer, is very emotive for everybody. Everybody has lost somebody to it. But cancer is a bacteria. And Man United have a bacteria within us. And if you don't treat the cancer, the bacteria, the tumor, and you just treat the symptoms it causes, you never fix the problem and you die. And I know that's going to be emotive for some people. I'm not trying to upset anybody, but it's a scientific fact. And it's the perfect analogy for Man United. We take headache tablets to address a brain tumor. We sack managers. We turn on players. We blame each other as fans. And all those things are part of the issue. And they need to be addressed because you get side effects and symptoms that also need to be treated that can create other issues further down the line. But we never address the root cause. We let it fester and we let it grow. Until Man United fans are prepared to stand up. I've seen people for the last 2 weeks tweet every day about Glazers out. And today they went to the game. I'm not gonna call them out. I'm gonna leave them to it. It's like, bro, what are you doing? Do you know what I mean? It's like crying about your mum being an alcoholic, but for her birthday, you buy her a bottle of vodka. It's a madness. There is no unity between players and management and the fans for Man United. Terry, Arsenal suffered from it for years. Now, listen, I agree. I don't believe the whole dressing room is behind Ten Hag after watching today. The fans are split with Ten Hag and Sancho and the Anthony situations. The handling of Greenwood has damaged a lot of the way people feel about the club. And it's all a problem. It's all a big problem. De Zerbi should go to Juve, would flop at Chelsea or United. Listen, I actually hear you. Oh, by the way, Albert Ray, I've just accidentally banned you from the channel. I clicked the wrong button. I'll get that sorted in a second. I didn't mean to ban you. It's cheered me up a little bit, though, accidentally banning someone. I'm going to go now to the banned list and get you unbanned. Sorry, mate. I don't even know why I clicked on that button. Where are we at? Where are you? I swear I did. Loads of people are banned on here who shouldn't be. Who's been banning all these people off my channel? I never go and check it. People, do you know what it is? Sometimes people can't, some of the mods can't take banter in the comment section. I think I've unblocked you now, mate. And how many Jack Napiers have been blocked? This man's like so many accounts. Anyway, let's go back to these super chats. This here says, afternoon, Terry. It's your owners, not the manager. You cannot keep on sacking managers. It's our owners are the problem. Klopp making FSG look good. But I'm not allowed to say that, Dinesh, because I'm told that they don't pick the team. Ten Hag has to juggle a lot off the field stuff, of course, and it's impacting us on the field. I can't even blame Maguire for this one. Do you know what? I'm just so happy not to see him. Yeah, fair play to him. I actually don't want to see him because even the abuse he's getting the last few days, I've actually sat and thought about it, and I'm like, it's all just becoming too much. Don't we as fans realize it ain't helping? Again, it's crazy. My bad, talking about top 6 clubs in general. Okay, fair enough. Selfishness in the team is ridiculous. We act like a bunch of pussies when we get behind. And in the face of goal, I said this preseason, Terry, goals change games. I hear you, Joshua Jack, and there is a lot of that today. And it's like, do you know what it is? Decision making's key. Because there was a time today where Rashford could have squared the ball to Rasmus Højlund. But also 2 or 3 times where he's very unselfish and created opportunities. But if he goes to that goal on his left foot and scores, we say nothing. However, you're judged by the end results. And our decision-making today as a collective up front was poor because we didn't score any. Well, we scored 1 goal. Hannibal did. Fair play to him. Ten Hag will need to apologise to Sancho at this rate. Terry, have you ever wondered the high wages the Glazers give bum players affects United on and off the pitch as Chelsea fans? Of course it does. Of course it impacts people. Of course it does. If you're at work and outperforming someone who earns 3 times more than you, it causes problems. They're human beings as well. Both managers and players to blame. Still no identity. I hear you. It's the players, Terry. You guys have way too many average players in your team. Take Rashford, Bruno, and Casemiro away, and you'd turn to a mid-table club. I hear you. The irony is, the Man United fans who don't like our team think them 3 are the main problem. I never understand it. Terry, bring in Hansi Flick. No, you're all right, mate. You're all right. You're all right. Glazers equal Man United's Mike Ashley. Who would you get if Ten Hag goes? I want him to stay, though. Listen, I wouldn't mind a little pop at the Derby, but that's probably me just having a lot of recency bias, and I watch him more. Part of me thinks someone like he's not available, but an Ancelotti who's older, more experienced, could galvanize. But I don't think he'd play the brand of football that the fans would adhere to, and they would start to attack, and the media come in. It's all a problem. I don't really know anymore. I'm at a loss, I told you. Horrid stadium, crap facilities, and owners not investing their own money. That is, of course, players begin to emulate that in their attitudes. Of course, they do. Every other walk of life, that's true. But for some reason, the media tell us that's not the problem at Man United. Clowns. Terry ranting for therapy. Just let the guests rip. They're coming. So I didn't realize I've been on this long. They're coming. Without refs, United would have 1 point in 5 games. Mate, we can see 10 goals in our last 4 as well. Horrendous. Come on loan to Spurs this season. Aussie Fergie will find a role for you. It's Angie's Terrace now. I thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it. But I won't be doing a league gunner and going out on loan. I'm bringing out the panel now. We've got KJ. We've got Deezy. We've got Sunshine, Cameron. We've got Young Dan. We've got Hamza. We've got Jacob as well. Obviously, we're covering all the matches today. I'm sure we're going to be dominated by the Man United chat to begin with, though. But boys, another horrendous day, and Dizzy's smiling, so I'm going to go to you first, Diz.
Well, it's as I said. You know what it is? I'm not even like you know like last year when we used to do the passionate rants for like half an hour. This is the problem. This is the problem. This needs to be fixed. I'm sad now, to be honest. It's not about being super emotional. I know I saw this coming. You asked, I think it was 3 games ago, is the season over? And I was like, yeah, it looks like it. But not because I'm being overreactionary, but because I can't see any progression. The reason why I had so much faith in Ten Hag at the start was because, one, he brought accountability. The players that were getting a start week in, week out, but pulling in stinkers were getting benched, and we were like, oh, wait, there's actually some change. We thought that we would have more control of the ball, we would have a more defined, more dominant style of play where we can actually play our way and impose our will on games. And we don't do that. We don't have a midfield that works to this day. And we're getting run over by anybody and everybody that's willing to actually give it a try, to be honest. And we got Bayern next. So that should be fun.
Yeah, it could get a whole lot worse before it gets better. And KJ, with Munich, the next game, it feels likely that Man United now will go 3 games on the bounce losing. We could end up conceding anywhere, between 7, 8, 9, 10 goals in 3 games, if not more. It's precarious right now.
I don't care, man. I don't care what happens now. Play against Bayern, lose by 10. It's no different to losing by 1 at this point. I don't know where we go from here. Honestly, I don't know where we go from here. I had hope with Ten Hag. I had hope things would change. He was trying to bring back orders, trying to bring back discipline, trying to bring back standards to the football club. And again, another manager, another one will bite the dust. Another set of players getting called not good enough. Another set of players not being mentally strong enough to hold the mantle of Man United. And then they will also go. And then when they go, we have a new set of players, we'll have a new manager, we'll have a little bit of hope, and then it will just all come crashing down again. We are Man United graveyard club. That's what we are. We're a flipping graveyard. You don't sink any hope or faith into this club because they'll just snatch it away from you. Everything. Hey, listen, people were joking and saying, oh, why does the kit launch matter? Why do people upset? I'm telling you from now, ever since that damn kit launch, things have gone to pot. So I think it's that as well. A little bit of judge as well. But no, on a serious, honestly, I just, what is there to do? What is there to say no more? We can analyze the game, but it doesn't matter. We can analyze Ten Hag and say we want him gone. It doesn't matter. Like, and we can talk about the Glazers, but it won't matter because they're still. So yeah.
But this is true though. And look, I've mentioned bits of the game in my rant, and I'm sure there'll be people out there on their own channels, on Twitter, in Spaces, that will be breaking things down to granular level and saying if we improve these things. I'm just honestly, because I don't just feel like this is 2 games we've lost on the bounce. This feels like there's a problem at the club. The head's going down, not getting back into shape when out of possession. I've seen this film before. I've seen it before. And all we do, we ain't doing requels or anything like that. We just keep doing remakes. But we all know the outcome. Do you know what I'm saying? It's just a remake after a remake. It's like every James Bond film, same ending. Do you know what I'm saying? Every American Pie film, same ending. I just feel like I'm watching the same movie again and again. So it is hard. And I know fans just want us to say, your players are shit, your manager's shit. I get that. And that's what you want to hear us say.
It's been 10 years. It's been 10 years.
It's been 10 years. Sunshine.
Thing for 10 years.
How you feeling, mate? What's going through your head right now?
I'll be honest. I'm just stuck on the prediction that I made, Terry, man. I told us, I said the main issue was putting the ball in the back of the blood clot net, man. I told man this, but no one wanted to hear it. No one wanted to have that conversation. Like last season, this is common. You don't have to be tactical. You don't have to analyze. This is common sense. Just this common sense. We had one of the best, if not the best, defensive teams in Europe last season. Statistically proven, even with mistakes. We don't have the budget to go and, do a Man City and replace every single position. So it comes back to my point again. We prioritized in the wrong areas, and it's made us go 3 steps forward, but 5 steps back. I said this. We're not clinical enough. The stats, I literally told you lot. I said we will create more goals, more chances this season, but we will concede more. And the main issue is what? If you're going to concede more, you need to win games by 3 or 4 goals. But we ain't got clinical finishers. So really and truly, you're saying we can create more, which is what's happening, but we ain't going to put the ball in the back of the net. So what's the point? And this is, again, I'll come back to it. Staffy, hold your ears. He's gone off wicked, perfect. Comes back to it. We should not have prioritized Onana first. Why? Because David De Gea, last season, allowed us to stay in games a lot longer over a bigger period of time. That 3rd goal that went in, my man had Popperdam hands. I'm sorry, he had Popperdam hands. And those qualities, those small specific qualities were ignored last season because it wasn't popular. We need someone who can still give us the opportunity to stay in games. Because if we're not clinical up front, we're going to have to keep the ball at the back of the net. So specifically, yes, did we need Onana? Yes, I told you about this. Did we need Mount? Of course you do, because you need them for the system. But we've taken too big of a leap forward, in my opinion, from a progressive standpoint, which is now having cons. Everyone just saw the pros of having certain profiles coming in. Oh, yes, we'll play better now. We'll do this. But no one wants to speak about the cons other than myself and maybe 5 other people I spoke to that we know of on socials. Now we're getting to the stage where people are losing their head. They're going, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's happening. I'll tell you what's happening. We've changed the profiles in certain areas, big positions. Now we're playing completely, I won't say completely different, that's a bit extreme. We're playing slightly different now in terms of what we do with the ball on the pitch. We're not consistent at doing that. So we've gone away from what we slightly did last season, which in my opinion, this is where I say we should have prioritized getting more clinical forwards first and then see what we can do elsewhere. The reason I say that is simple. Because if you can maintain your defense with last season, even with mistakes, Manchester United, this applies to every football fan, every team. If you win a game that you sleep good knowing that you won, even if your performance wasn't up there. But in order to win games, you got to go put the ball in the back of the net. So I don't mind making mistakes every now and then in certain players if we go and get the win. But we ain't clinical enough, and we saw that again today. And I made this prediction last season.
Yeah.
Like this is facts.
I'm gonna be honest.
It's common sense.
I'm gonna be honest. It don't matter what priority we had. It don't matter what order we do things.
No, it does, KJ.
No. It's been 10 years. We could have signed Harry Kane and flipping Osimhen.
Listen.
We would still have the same issues. Performances will still be
KJ,
low.
you're missing the point, bro.
I understand where you're coming from, bro. I understand where you're coming from. Your points are valid. I'm not saying what you're saying is complete foolishness because they were solid points. But this is not a priority. We should have bought this player, that player.
No, KJ, let me tell you why you're wrong, bro. I'm gonna tell you why you're wrong.
It's just Man United.
Bro, I'm not doing this wishy-washy shit, bro. Because if I can sit there, wishy-washy shit, bro. If I can sit there and make certain predictions so accurate that it's fucking happening now, and I'm sitting there going,
we've made predictions, fam. We're making predictions and it's happening.
No, but listen, some people make predictions off flippancy, off arrogance, off lack of intellect, just out of jokes. I've been so specific because I've been so balanced with the pros and cons of the situation. Manchester United have not been able to prioritize in the right order because we don't financially have the stability to do so. So although I understand there are many issues, if you're smart, you will know. If Terry used to be an accountant, so he will get it. If you're smart with your budgeting, then you look to create less risk. We've taken too many risks.
Can I just say, do you know what? I understand where you're coming from because I agree with what you're saying on the pitch. So many times last season and so far this year, if we had more clinical players up front, we could have won these games. If we finished our dinner today, we could have won this match. It would have been a different football game. I understand that. But I do still have... This is, again, though, where I will look at Ten Hag and say, he did spend £65 million on Mason Mount. He did spend £40 million on Onana, as an example. Yeah. He did drop £64 million on Højlund. Again, I think taking off Højlund was a horrendous mistake today. Maybe it's because he hasn't had much game time and in the moment of all this, but I think it was all wrong. So if he'd have taken that money and gone and bought Harry Kane, things could have been different. However, where you're right is if we'd have bought Harry Kane with the money that would have cost, there would have been barely any other signings and you'd still have holes in your team and people would complain. We never get a job done. Where I agree with you, and this is what I think is right as a macro view, is that Man United have not completed a rebuild for any new process in 10 years. We get halfway through and then the Glazers start it all over again because things start to fall apart because we don't move quick enough. That element I completely agree with. Again, rivals hate hearing that because it doesn't suit the narrative, but there's things to blame the manager for. There's things to blame players for. There's things to blame the owners for. There is no doubt about it because we're in the same situation again with another new manager 6 times now in 9 years. Staffy, before we go to some more super chats, we are going to speak City on the show. We are going to speak Spurs as well. Sorry, guys, that United are dominating, but at the end of the day, we're the biggest team in the world. So, and we just got battered. Staffy, talk to me, bro, because I think you were like me. I saw your tweet. First 15, 20 minutes, we look really good.
Yep.
We started well, but once again, we can't stay in the game. Story of our season so far. Nothing new. I see people saying Staffy's lying. Why would I hide, bro? Why would I hide? First of all, I was just making the shisha because, like, that's the only way to keep with the stress that United is giving me because this shit is not worth it at this point. But there's nothing to hide from. When I come here every week and I say the same thing and people are refusing to listen to me, I'm hearing people asking me all these questions and they're like, oh, talk to this person, talk to that person. Bro, listen, at this point, if you want to listen to me, listen to me. If you don't want to listen to me, I say the truth every week. No one wants to listen to me, so I'm not listening to anyone. At this point, you need to come ask me questions because I'm telling you every week what's the problem and people don't want to listen to me. Today we played, let me tell you guys how embarrassing this is, okay? We played with a diamond midfield, okay? First of all, why are we not bringing on Pellistri? Because I heard he used to train hard and he's the only right winger, but we didn't bring him on. So the manager doesn't trust them. All right, fair play. We don't trust Pellistri. We're changing the system to accommodate for what we don't have. Okay, that's fine. We're playing 4 midfielders. 4. Okay? Against 3 midfielders, we have an extra midfielder. and we couldn't control the game at home. And people want to sit here on this stream, and I'm not calling anyone out. Terry, listen, it's your channel. You can say whatever you want in the beginning, but I'm not going to talk about the bigger picture because I already agree with you. The bigger picture is shit. But I want to talk about this game in isolation, okay? The manager changed the tactics. You know why it worked in the first few minutes? Because De Zerbi didn't expect that. He was like, I'm not used to United playing with no wingers. I'm not used to them playing with 2 strikers that are fast. I'm not used to them trying to overload the midfield. So we're talking about 15 minutes to him and the players to adapt to what's going on. And the minute they adapt to it, we never got the game back. They were passing around us like it's a training session. And this is the thing about them. People are like, you guys lost to their B team. We didn't lose to their B team. Their team is so good that at some point, anyone who comes out and into the team, you don't see a drop-off in the performance. Unlike us, we don't have a right winger, so the manager had to change the formation and play a formation that he hasn't used before. The last time he used this formation was in his old club in Holland, Utrecht or whatever. He's never used this diamond formation with this team, and he couldn't sustain it. So we looked good for 15 minutes, couldn't keep possession of the ball, and the same thing happened. I am hearing that, one second there, I am hearing that the issue is that we can't score goals. I agree, we can't score goals, 100%. We don't score enough goals. But how are we conceding the same goal 3 times in a row? If you look, I'll tell you something. Go watch the 3 goals in a loop. So back to back to back, okay? Ignore which area it came from. 1 came from the right, and I think 2 came from the left. It doesn't matter which side it came from. It was the same exact goal. The wingers run in, they cut back pass, late arrival to the box, whether it's a striker or a midfielder, someone is not covering, goal. We have 4 midfielders, and not one of them was able to track back with the striker or the late runner. One was from Welbeck, and if it wasn't for the Meg that the dummy that what's his name did, Lallana, because our center back had to be drawn out. You look behind him and you see Ericsson not tracking back. And then the second goal, I think it was Joao Pedro, and I forgot who scored the third one. It's the same goal, and we have an extra midfield in the pit. And people want to sit here and talk to me about the structure and all that. I get that, but let's talk about the game. Why did he get outclassed by De Zerbi, who had 6 subs playing this game? He changed 6 players on the pitch.
That's a great question. So I think, again, let's just break this down. It is my channel, and when I'm ranting, I spoke right at the start about individual.
No, I respect that.
Let me just say, at the beginning of my stream, I spoke about the 3 goals we conceded, and I think me and you are pretty much different words, but married up on that. It was a lack of work ethic to get into shape and track back. Where you look at Brighton, they do it. Is this Ten Hag being outsmarted by De Zerbi, or is this a player issue? When I say player issue, in that first, up until their goal, we had more of the ball, more shots, and by the way, they had nearly 50%. But 90% of their ball was in their own final third. They had no ball in dangerous areas. So we dominated the game in those opening 20 minutes. And then they scored a goal against a run of play.
No, I agree with you.
After that point, I'm looking at the heads down, pressure, no palpitations. They can't handle it. Because on technical ability, this is what's so amazing about Brighton. So many players in that team and squad, none of the top 6 clubs really want to buy. There's some players they do have, you know, the Casados and the Basumas, but there's lots of no one would want to go and buy Danny Welbeck. I don't think anyone would go and buy Lallana. I don't think anybody would buy Pascal Gross. I don't think anybody would go out of their way to buy. Like, I don't think people will go out of their way.
The other half people are buying. The other half people are buying, you know?
Okay, but what I'm saying is they've got a squad where I would say 2/3 of their squad are players that no fan and very many managers and recruitment teams from the top 6 clubs in England would want to buy. But yet every single one of them can play this style of football. For me, yes, it is down to technical ability, but it's down to the mindset. They believe in themselves. These Man United players that when we're in the ascendancy and we feel good, if we will score first or winning games, we can do it. It's as soon as we get a knock on the chin, our confidence goes. So listen, I'm not saying the manager didn't get done today, but I look at us get out. And by the way, this happened under Ollie, under Jose, LVG, and LVG was meant to be the master of this. We get outplayed sometimes by teams with we've got no technical ability, but we're playing teams that have less technical ability than our players and they play better football. That can't be training. That can't be the players. That has to be mindset for me, boys. And
It's
I'm not trying to say I'm right.
What do you mean? It's 100% training. After the first 15 minutes, I'll tell you something.
Okay. So let me ask a question. So in the first 15 minutes, we're pressing the ball how you want. We're passing the ball how we want. Some of our passages of play in the opening 20 minutes were amazing. Right or wrong, people on my line.
They were. No, but
Yeah,
to answer your question.
So there's training and the technical ability of the players enables them to do it then. But then when we're under pressure, they suddenly can't do it. I see. That's why I don't think it's training, bro. That's why I think it's pressure. That's why I think it's mentality. Because we are what we would call, there are motorbike riders are called fair weather riders. When it's sunny and bright and dry, they can ride a motorbike as good as anyone. Gets a little rainy, gets a little windy, and they're a bit too nervous to go out on their motorbike in case they crash. That's Man United. We're fair weather riders. Soon as the pressure's on, no matter what manager, no matter what group of players, no matter what system, no matter what training, it all goes to pot every single time.
But Terry, today I think
I know we want to blame Ten Hag. It must be the way we're training him. I can guarantee. I genuinely believe this, Staffy. Do you really think if De Zerbi took us over in 18 months, we would be a title challenging team?
No, De Zerbi wouldn't do anything in this team.
To answer your question,
just let me finish this point because I gotta go anyways. I'm sorry, bro. Let me just finish off this point. The reason I'm putting it down to the manager, and yes, I don't like talking about training because I saw players that train hard get outdone on the pitch today. Apparently, we needed players who are up to the standard in training, but they have no standards on the pitch. So we're using that word training anymore. Okay, I'm gonna pull the AI, and I'm not gonna use that word anymore. But here's the thing: they did it for 15 minutes, and they couldn't do it for the rest of the game. I'll tell you something. If I go and check the stats, I like to check the stats later after the game to see how we did and actually give them credit for it. They done well. I promise you, when I go and check the stats, this was one of our pressing performances because we've been pressing well, and I've been defending that on Ten Hag. This is one of the worst games in terms of press because our shape was so different. I've seen so many times where our press is beat, and I see Rashford, Bruno, or anyone just go like this with their arms because they don't know what to do. The reason we conceded these goals with the way that we did today is because we had no right and left winger. But we had Delo and Reguilon, who, by the way, had an amazing game. I think they were the best two players next to Rashford. Mm-hmm. But every time they went high up the pitch, they had none of the midfielders knowing where to drop, whether to cover them on the wing or cover them in the center, which is why in the first goal, when Martinez had to go out and try to cover for that cross, he got left exposed. Lindelof got exposed, left alone in the box. So the team, not only, yes, you can sit here and say they don't have the mentality. They're not drilled well. We don't have a good system and style of play. We had to change our system because he doesn't back Palestri. And when he brought on these players that are supposed to be quality, by the way, these are most of the players that he signed. A lot of these players he signed. Yes, Mount wasn't here. I understand Amrabat wasn't here, but he chose most of these people to be here. Okay, so when we sit here and talk about the recruitment and all that, I get it. The Glazers are shit. The Glazers need to get out. But at the same time, this guy recruited most of these players, and these players that can't interchange and play different positions and different styles on the pitch, it's his fault. When he went and spent money on Mount instead of getting a midfielder that can control games, that I have to put that down to him. Yeah, I mean, when he's bringing in Højlund.
Hang on a minute. I've got to stop you. 5 of the 15 players that featured today, the manager signed. The rest were already here. So 1/3 of his players that played today.
And that's not enough, Terry? Most of these guys are here by his will.
You said most.
I named a couple that are injured, so I understand that. I mean, he's not going to change the whole team in a year and a half.
Most, is it?
I would be unfair. I would be unfair if I said everine on the pitch today should have been his player. But most of these players are here based on his decision. He gave the captaincy to Bruno. He said, "You're my captain." I'm not saying it. You know why I'm not going to say it, KJ?
No, Staffy, I'm not saying it to be like a root because you remember you said he had 3 strikes right before you Ten Hag out. He had 2 of them already. You're telling me this ain't the 3rd strike?
I'll tell you why this is not my 3rd strike. Yeah, you know why, KJ? I actually thought of it. I sat there and I thought of it, and I was like, there's going to be a closer chance of you hearing Staffy out than Ten Hag out because I know the minute we change, this is the one thing I agreed with Terry on today. We change the manager and nothing happens. We bring in De Zerbi, we bring in Edge Postecoglou, we bring them both combined, we'll still be shit. So I am actually at a point where I am ready to say I am out. Well, I'm just going to stop watching this team and take a break until we get new owners. I swear to God, one day you'll go on Twitter and if you see hashtag Staffy out, just know that when you go on my channel, you're going to see different topics than United.
Again, I got called a capper, but I want to ask you, because you didn't actually answer my question. How can these players play well when the going's good, but as soon as the pressure's on, they can't play anymore? What do you think what is the manager not doing in training to help them cope with that scenario?
Are you talking about today or just in general?
No, you're saying that we don't. It's the training that makes us not be able to play well and hold on to
I don't think
games.
these players are drilled well. Yeah, they don't know how to play a certain system, which is why
So
when
when
we
you
miss
say,
individuals, we have to tweak.
I need to stop you because I need to understand what you mean. When you say not drilled well, what is the training techniques the manager should be doing to enable us to play like we did in the first 20 minutes when we're under pressure?
You know what? You know what it is.
I should have him trained.
You know what it is. You know what it is. You know what it is.
I don't think. What does he need to do?
I don't.
What do you think he? Sorry, Staffy. What is the manager not doing to make us be able to handle the pressure? So we do it when we play well when the pressure's off. When the pressure's on, we crumble. What drills is he not doing in training that would stop that, in your opinion, bro?
Well, I'm not going to talk about drills, but for first, he's playing a style of football that doesn't accommodate most of these footballers. And then he said he wants to play transition football, and he got rid of some of our best football. When we have, listen, I'm not going to sit here and talk about Jadon Sancho, but the reason I always wanted him in the team is because I believed he was one of our best technical players, and I wanted him to have him in a system because I know when you have good footballers on the pitch, your chances to winning games is better. But we sacrifice this because we wanted players who train hard. But when I look at the pitch, I don't see an identity. I don't see players that can play well. That's why I said 4 midfielders and we couldn't control a game. So if I have 4 midfielders and none of them look good, do I blame all the 4 players? Or do I blame the manager for not?
I don't agree. This has been, you got in circles. Now I just want to speak on a few things. I actually agree with you on a bunch of it. But realistically, like you keep saying 4 midfielders, like 4 midfielders this, 4 midfielders that. Truth is, one of the midfielders was Scott McTominay. At the end of the day,
thank you.
Truth is, one of the midfielders was Scott McTominay. And if you look at, I know you like looking at stats and all that. We watched the game. He barely touched the ball. He barely was in the game.
I agree.
We were playing with 3 midfielders, in my opinion, with no wingers. We changed our style up, and we probably shouldn't have. And one thing I agree with everybody on today, and I'm not Ten Hag out. I'm calm. I actually truly believe at the end of the day, we need to keep Ten Hag for his whole contract and see this out. That is our only way back. That is my opinion. But today, what De Zerbi did when he dropped Welbeck and Lallana into the midfield and completely overloaded us, Ten Hag did not respond to that. That was the mistake. No one's talked about that. Those 2 players dropping into the midfield. I
did say he got outdone by De Zerbi, so I agree.
No, you're saying we had 4 midfielders and we couldn't control the ball. That's not what I saw today. I saw us have a dead Scott McTominay out there who is not Ten Hag's man. Let's make that clear. We have the rest of our midfield who just right now aren't working well together because when you have a Casemiro who looks leggy, you have Scott McTominay who's not able to cover for him. Bruno, I think, was good today. Plain and simple, I think Bruno played completely fine today. I have no problem with the way he played today. Ten Hag got done when he didn't adjust to what De Zerbi did, and that's the mistake he made today. He was too stubborn, and he did not adjust in time. Realistically, agendaless, all this like talking about who should be on the pitch, who shouldn't be. My hope is from this game, he learns that he can't be stubborn that long in any game. Because we had them on toast. We were fine for those first 17 minutes. And I get what Terry's trying to say, the mentality drops. But I do think for the next, once we should like that goal that didn't count, we weren't terrible. We were still in the game. After the second goal, you could tell we were done. That's where we completely gave up. There's a lot of things everybody said that I agree with, but one thing I will say is anybody who talks about Ten Hag going out at this stage for me, that's crazy. Like our only way back, in my opinion, is keeping some consistency for as long as we possibly can with these terrible managers. Because remember, our defense looked trash today. Who was our first player that we were linked to that Ten Hag wanted? Kim Min-jae. We couldn't get him because Bayern had all the time to get in there. We didn't put the money up. Realistically, I know Terry says he doesn't want to talk about the Glazers, but that's the problem. It's going to be.
I was being sarcastic.
I know.
No,
but that is the truth. Is Kim Min-jae was the player we wanted. To Neji's point, Kane was our striker. That's who we wanted. These were players that we originally wanted, and Ten Hag, unfortunately. So it's like I agree and disagree with a lot of your things. He had to pivot. What were his priorities? I don't think he wanted to make Onana the priority, but he was like, if I'm not getting Kane, what can I do to make this team better?
Yeah,
it could be right or wrong, but the Glazers are screwing us, man. Like, and the fans.
So go on.
One last thing I'm going to say, because like, again, I like keying out on what happens in different sports in different parts of the world. The only way you're going to get the Glazers out, these are Americans, guys. So I'll tell you from a North American standpoint is you need to stop showing up to the games. It's not going to happen. That until that stadium is empty, until it looks terrible on TV, they are going to be there and they're going to stay. So it is what it is. Yeah. That's why I'm calm. I'm calm because there's
Yeah,
nothing.
yeah,
we
no,
can do.
yeah, no. I hear you. I hear you on that. I want to do some super chats. We are going to move on to some Spurs and City chat as well on this feature length show today. I want to ask a question, Staffy. Just because I want to understand what you mean. You sort of said the team was picked today because people work hard in training. Are you saying if Sancho played today, we would be better?
Don't do that.
No, I'm asking. I'm going to go into specificity. I don't like. I know a lot of people do, but I don't like ambiguity. What are you actually saying when you say that? Be specific.
I am saying that the manager got the players that he wanted on the pitch today, including it was his decision not to play Pellistri and to tweak the system, and it still didn't work. So I want consistency now. I want to see what's going to happen in the next game after we just got battered today. And these players did not perform to the standards that I was promised. I was promised that every day you have to meet the standard at United.
See, this is why I wanted to ask you. I'm cutting you in. At no point in any press conference in the last 2 weeks has Ten Hag mentioned people being dropped from the squad for match day performances and standards. He has spoke about, and the press have told us this, turning up to training on time and giving your all. He has never said at any point that Sancho was dropped because he didn't perform well enough in games. So what you can't do to challenge Ten Hag is conflate match performances versus behaviors behind the scenes at training, because he hasn't mentioned match performances. You've got. I
need him to. That's the thing. I want him to.
But you can't defend Sancho with an action that he didn't criticize Sancho for. That's not right.
Sancho.
But
you know what you did. Let's not be.
I know what I said. I know that he.
Listen, Staffy. I love you, bro. But you know exactly what you were implying with that comment. Let's not sit here and be children.
This fan base values athletes over technical players, and then they wonder why we look shit on the pitch. So I don't care at the end of the day. Listen, I don't care at the end of the day who trains well.
Bro, I was on my knees for Jadon Sancho to come to the club. The difference between you and me is
I was seeing.
We didn't want Mount, bro.
We didn't want Mount. We wanted Sancho. What we want, do you know what we want, Staffy? This isn't about athleticism versus technical. This is not about athleticism versus technical ability. This is about delivering for the goddamn fucking club. And I don't care whether you're Sancho or McTominay. If you don't perform, I don't want you on my club. I don't want you on my club. It's not about athleticism.
What I will say in defense of Staffy, though, is when you make a statement like that, when you call a player out, when you hang him out to dry, there's a 2-week assassination campaign against a specific player. You can't lose that next game.
Agreed. Agree with that. 100%.
And you can't 100%. Get smoked the way that you did.
Next game.
So now it's looking techie, because it looks like the players don't know what they're supposed to be doing. I don't know if they really have trust in what the game plan is, and the game plan goes out the window as soon as we concede a goal. So now it's all
100. Deezy, you're spot on with that. He had to win today. I said it yesterday on Sam's show. He's put this pressure on himself now, Ten Hag, by doing this. Again, where I'll defend the manager of Man United, irrespective of who it is. You can't compare apples with oranges when it comes to standards. There's a few people that said Terry asked ridiculous specific questions on purpose. Yes, I did ask Staffy a specific question on purpose, not to catch him out. This isn't about defending Ten Hag per se. I believe there's a mentality issue in this dressing room that's existed for over 10 years. I don't believe it's necessarily training drills. I think they can help improve. But for me, someone who used to be an athlete, I am looking at other athletes. And I look at people who, as soon as they can see, the confidence goes.
Yep.
You know, Mike Tyson had a great saying for this. And being someone from a fighting background, you see it. Everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face. That's Man United. We are literally what Mike Tyson was talking about. So I'm asking because I don't think it's about making us technically more proficient, because I see less technical teams move the ball with more confidence. So for me, this is about the mentality. And again, I know that triggers people because they just want to hear Rashford shit on the ball. You can get a better player than Rashford, technically. That isn't going to fix Man United. Do you know why? And Staffy's proven this. Because we sign lots of technical footballers and they don't make us better either. There's a mentality issue at the club.
We didn't play to their strengths. That's what I said. We're playing a system that doesn't accommodate the players that we have. So
we've done that with every single manager since Fergie. No, none of that. So you're telling me... And
what we've done since Fergie is sacrifice our best players all the time.
Let me finish my question, because you don't know what I'm going to say yet. Are you saying since Fergie that we have all the good quality technical players we've signed, we've never had a system or training or a manager that's good for them?
Oh, yeah, most times than not, yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
So again, my point is I'm talking about this on a macro level, not specific to today. I'm talking about we've been doing this for 10 years. That's why it's so hard for me, Staffy, just to focus on one match. And you'll hear Roy Keane say the same thing next time he talks. He'll say things like, well, these players threw the previous 6 managers under the bus. Why are they not going to do it again? Because it persists and it moves on to the next group of players because we never eradicate it. This stuff needs to be fixed before we even think about how football looks. The reason why Postecoglou's got his team playing well is because that dressing room isn't broken and toxic. The one thing you'd say about Tottenham, no matter how bad they've been under managers, there's never been talk of the players throwing managers under buses and being nasty and being ratty and being snakes.
That's not true. That is.
Well,
that's 100% not true.
I haven't heard much of that. But look, I've got to go to some more of these super chats, right? This says Rashford should be ashamed, selfish, and Ten Hag favourite is what Nabil says. Here we have a super chat that says, I'm watching the first minutes, Terry, so I'm sorry if you're talking about something else. For me, the only one to blame is Ten Hag. First, you don't hang your players out in public. Second, when you lose, you take responsibility. Thank you very much for that super chat. You're right. You're right. Need to change your players' mentality. Yeah, people don't like that. To counter Terry, Brighton, when conceded, they controlled the tempo and the ball. Yes, because their players are full of confidence. What I don't know is how they have so much more confidence than we do. My belief is there's less pressure upon them. I think wearing a Manchester United shirt burns people physically. I think it hurts people. And every time a new big player comes in, a new manager, the pressure's intensified because of what's gone before them. And I think it burns and consumes them. And we haven't found a way yet of stopping this from happening. A simple question to troll the panel. Why do Spurs look better than Man United right now? Lost our best player, spent less, manager not as good as Ten Hag. It's a great question from bad luck, Josh. Hope you're well. Why do Spurs look better than Man United, Daniel?
Because we're better.
That's not an answer. Specificity. Why? Not what?
It's a bit what you've said as well. It's like there's better. The fan base is more united. You saw even before we scored that goal, the stadium was rocking, absolutely rocking. So the whole club is united right now. We've had the last 2 managers we've had. It's been a very difficult time we've passed with them, but I'm really, really loving life under Postecoglou. Everybody's just united. It's just it's like an actual football club. It's a functional football club. This is something I haven't seen in ages. Terry, I had told you a few weeks ago before international break that I was going to take a break and I wasn't going to come back till probably late after the North London derby because I had school stuff. I had to come back on, man, because the emotions I've had watching that game, I've never passed more emotion watching a football game in my life. And that has to do with the new manager appointment, the way that the club is being run right now. And it's just generally something that I haven't seen in my whole life supporting Tottenham is Tottenham being run functionally. There's still some things that need to be solved. Our squad depth is still crap, but there's things that are going in the right direction right now. And that's why we look better than Manchester United.
Listen, you can feel that fact. The fact you guys were singing after 2 games, we've got our club back, is a big part of it. And KJ, will tell you, I've said this for years. I do think the way Man United fans are with our club, and I include myself in this, I think we make it worse. Arsenal started to improve when this is the irony of when I've called out Lee and Brandon, these guys over this. All the stuff with the dog and the PR online and the North London Forever that made the fan, plus coupled with the football getting better. As soon as the Arsenal fans, as a collective, as a majority, became happy again, so did the football improved. Maybe there's something in that.
I don't think that's what happened.
I know you need something to get behind, but there's also an element of, and I know we're broken, but isn't it amazing how when fan bases are happy, teams play better as well? I do think it's interconnected. I don't think it's they're not mutually exclusive. I think they're intertwined in many ways. I think you're right.
I think it is. You know what I think it is? When Arsenal were going through that terrible patch of form, they were very lucky that they were going through the COVID period. So there weren't anybody in the stands. I think that has to do a big load of that because I remember there was a point where they were 15th and Arsenal fans were pissed off. None of them were happy, but there was nobody in the stadium. So you didn't feel that effect. So I think that was a big thing. I think right now, Arsenal wouldn't be in the position that they're in if COVID wouldn't have passed and the stadium was full. And there'd be Arteta out protests outside the stadium. When they were 15th, man, AFTV was unreal. Arsenal fans all around the world were complaining about Arteta, saying Arteta out. Now they're saying they waited under the process, they were so patient. No, they were pissed. They just weren't in the stadium to get pissed about.
Yeah, I hear you. Just to update the Man United fans, Ten Hag has confirmed essentially that Højlund physically isn't ready for 90 minutes yet because of a lack of preseason. That's why he brought him off. I thought that was the case. I mean, it annoyed me, especially when we first lost.
There's no schedule.
Yeah, it's one of them things where, again, the irony is this is where we're dumb as fans. We're dumb. If he leaves him on for 90 minutes and then he put something, he then pulls something that's out for 2 months, and then it turns out he should have come off after 60 minutes. We'd have called the manager a joke. So yeah, sometimes you can't win. Can't laugh at United because we're losing tomorrow, is what Dyke says. Yeah, but Chelsea fans are the only ones that are not going to banter us today. Terry is one of the more objective and rational pundits out there. Keep asking. I'm always going to ask tough questions, and people think it's because I'm trying to catch them out. I'm not. I'm trying to understand how people think. Remember, anyone who focuses on what is a bog standard dry piece of toast. I'm a how and a why person. How and a why. None of United's managerial choices after Fergie have had sustained success at the elite level. LVG and Jose have not had sustained success at the elite level.
I think it means just at the club in general.
Yeah, okay, right. You keep picking the wrong manager at the wrong time. That could be it. I mean, maybe that is the answer, bro. Maybe that is just it. We keep picking the wrong guy at the right time. If that was the case, though, we wouldn't have to keep rebuilding every squad as well. And that's not to dig out your super chat. It's deeper. This is why it's not as simple as just sacking a manager.
Terry,
on,
if I may, look at Brighton, for example, prime example. It's the literal reverse. A lot of people said when Graham Potter was there, he's the reason they were doing so well. That's why Chelsea went for Potter. Caicedo, certain signings were amazing. They've lost most of their players, but yet still they're able to maintain what they do. Why? Because the structure and the culture at the club is set in. So similar to what Staffy said, and again, I'm agreeing with Staffy in the sense of if you can replace player for player or manager for manager or style for style because your foundation structure isn't perfect, then you're onto a winner. Brighton have lost their best players. Like you said, Terry, don't have the best technical players. So it's not about that, but they have a structure that is literally destined for success. And this is, again, what we want.
They lost their manager too, right?
I would say this about Tottenham. I don't think Tottenham were really buying too many profiles that matched what Conte and Jose wanted. I think you were still buying Tottenham players, Poch players. That's why Ange is getting them working well very, very quickly, because you should never have gone from Poch to Jose. If you'd have gone from Poch to a manager like Ange Postecoglou, you would not have had that 2 or 3 year, say barren spell. You weren't winning trophies, but you wouldn't have had that 2 year, 3 year period where it all fell apart again. It would have been a natural progression of style. So again, I'm not against sacking Ten Hag as long as we're not going to try and as long as we're just going to keep continuing to rebuild the squad how we've started. What I don't want is to go for a manager with a completely opposite view of football who needs 25 again different players. That will ruin us again. Sorry, you were going to say something, Jacob. Sorry, bro.
I was just going to say the reason why Jose was appointed after Pochettino was Daniel Levy wasn't thinking, oh, do these players translate well into a Jose Mourinho system? Same thing with Nuno and Conte. It was literally just, we were so close, maybe this manager can get us there because he is quote unquote the special one. So that's why Jose Mourinho was hired after Pochettino, in my humble opinion, because I just think it was just a matter of us trying to chase what we had and to try and push us there when we were kind of falling off. And we already seen where that led us. So for me, there is a little bit of a difference there because some of these players, like Jed Spence, he wasn't bought for anybody. And Ange Postecoglou, arguably one who could get a tune out of a club signing like that, said also, I don't want that kid. So but Postecoglou did come out and say the club has backed me. He quote unquote has said the club has backed me.
I remember I was on a stream with you, Terry, a while ago, and I said I wanted Brennan Johnson, and you were like, "No, he's crap. He's crap." The reason I wanted Brennan Johnson, I'm not going to sit there and I watch every Nottingham Forest game 90 minutes. The reason I want Brennan Johnson is because Ange Postecoglou came out and said he wanted Brennan Johnson. That's one of the reasons why I was so happy with the fact that we signed him. I'm sure he's a good player. Apparently, he's like rapid, but Ange Postecoglou wanted him. Therefore, I back Ange Postecoglou's judgment and sign him.
I hear you. I understand that. Terry, if you were the manager of Ten Hag, would you put him on a performance improvement plan of Pip? Bruv, did this person work at Barclays? It sounds like a Barclays person. That's what we used to call him. Yeah, I would. I'd have him on a Pip. There's no doubt. See you at the Emirates next week, youngster, is what it says.
All Arsenal fans, in a week's time, it's your time to get humbled, bro. I've been waiting so long. It's Arsenal humbling, bro.
To the Emirates.
These Arsenal fans have been on a high all season.
Someone said Ten Hag is a Dutch Gandhi. What was that say?
Pacifist.
Pacifist FC.
FC, right. Don't want to attack the enemy settings. We thought we got Heisenberg, but we got Killerin sliced up.
Hold up. Hey, leave Quillen alone, bro. Leave Quillen alone.
Is that weird cartoon stuff?
Weird crossover.
He's an anime character from Dragon Ball Z. Leave my guy Krillin alone, man. He's out there trying to be a dad. Leave him be.
What happened to Casemiro? Listen, I just don't think this is a Casemiro issue per se. I think that's being over egged personally. But that's just me. Just look at the difference between Basuma with one manager to another or system to another or the way a team's performing. We have been telling you the team is mid. Only one who can help you is God. But instead of reaching to him, you lot would rather support the devil.
That's
the
your
Red
boy,
Devils, yeah. Origi 10 times the player that Rashford is. Theatre of nightmares. I hear you on that. So I will agree with mid. Can we then agree that Ten Hag overachieved last year then? Because you can't have it both ways. Terry, how many managers since Fergie retired? This is sick. Not including interims. This is the Moyes. This is the 5th full-time manager, and the 7th manager if you include interims. Terry, you're a sensible Man United fan. Unfortunately, there's a lot of arrogant ones on the tube. They need to realize that United's scare factor is long gone. No one takes them seriously like that anymore. The club is wounded.
Can I just address that though? Because realistically, that was our first loss at home, like since when? Like I lost count. So I get it. It's easy to come into the banter and teams come and they play you, but nobody's been beating us at Old Trafford. That's why today hurts a lot more than anything. Like this has been the one thing you've been able to I've been able to wake up early and at least know I'm not going to see a loss when we're home for like the last year almost. So to say, we don't have a fear factor at home, no, that's not true, because then we'd be getting beat left, right, and center at home.
You got a leaking factor at home. I know that. But...
Yeah, I know. So I don't disagree. I was appalled at that stadium when I went.
This here says, Arsenal fan here, Rashford is the most selfish player I've ever seen in the Premier League. He don't want to pass the ball to Højlund. I'm angry with him. He's a goal scorer. He should have squared the ball. Interestingly, Staffy was on earlier, who actually said he thought he had a good. I actually thought he had a good game today overall. Rashford. He was again. If more of our attackers were as dangerous as him today, we'd have won. Anyone change top 4 predictions after 5 games? Yeah, Man United not in my top 4 anymore. 100% out of it now. I'm done talking about this player and that player. We need this. We need that. Sell him and sack him. I'm tired of talking about the real problem. The real problem that no one cares. The club is ruined for one reason only. I couldn't agree with you more. But this isn't a pop at Staffy. I know he's not here to defend himself. But this is why it's so hard to focus on things like, but the manager has standards on training, right? I feel like, do you know what? Do you know who I feel wins when we focus solely on those things? I feel like the Glazers win because we're focusing on all these small, like not small things in the moment, but in the grand scheme of things, it's a small issue. And the Glazers are sitting there, they're not talking about us again, are they? It's crazy to me. People really said Man United would finish above Arsenal and challenge City. Delusion at its finest. I'll be honest with you, Zizou. I've got to hold my hands up right now and say that prediction of mine looks completely wrong, that we would progress. But I really thought we would.
There's still time.
There is still time, but I've just signed. Do you know what it is, Cam? I've got this things I'm seeing that I've seen so many times before. Like, do any of you live near like proper wildlife? Do you live near proper wildlife, Jacob? Because you live in Texas, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's some nearby. The deers meander over in the city sometimes. Okay, yeah.
You live in Florida, so you live near crocodiles and alligators and pythons and stuff, right?
Mate, I see them every day.
Yeah, okay. So I'll give you an example. If you were walking by water where you lived, you would know when one was coming before me, right?
Yeah.
Because you wouldn't even know how you know. You just know because you're there and around it. You'd know there's an alligator there. You'd know what to do, what not to do. I'm like that when there's problems at Man United. I know when something bad's coming because the way the water ripples, the sense, the fact that, I don't know, birds go silent. I don't know what it is. Something happens. Like, that's what happens at the birds. There's no more stinging birds at the club anymore. Yeah, we're in trouble, bruv. We're in trouble. We're in trouble. I hope United players don't drink too much Stella tonight.
Let's not do that. Let's not do that.
Oh, I just realised what that meant then. I was about to
say, let's not do that.
You know. I had a Stella last Saturday. I had a Stella in years. Good beer. Who is Ten Hag going to blame next? If your players ain't working hard, that's the manager. Great managers get their players to play.
Not at this club.
Terry, did you see?
Yeah, not Man United. We don't do that here.
Terry,
don't do that here.
did you see
The
the?
question for United fans: why is Rashford stupidly selfish with the ball? He made Højlund look weak today.
It was one. It was
Okay,
one time he didn't pass the
It
ball.
was one
We're gonna
play.
say,
There's a lot of free, but he still had a good game overall.
Yeah,
But Terry,
Højlund
did you
didn't
see?
look weak. He
Did
looked
you
fine.
see
The
the
reason why-
Man United fan singing "Viva Ronaldo" today?
No, it's
Yeah,
Garnacho.
but
No, wrong
Garnacho.
song.
It's
It's
Garnacho.
Garnacho. They sing Viva Garnacho to the same
Oh,
tune
somebody
that
put it
they
on Twitter
sing Viva
saying
Ronaldo.
Viva Ronaldo.
No,
but
because we wanted
Man
Garnacho to
United
come on,
will.
that's why.
Man United will sing Ronaldo's, maybe not straight away, but Ronaldo's name will be sung in 50 to 100 years at that football club. You know, same as Jules Best's. You got to remember, Jules Best did bad stuff to this club back in the day. Jules Best, right, spent 3 weeks not turning up to training. Right, and they found him after a few weeks, and they was dead or alive. He was in hotel suites with alcohol and other substances with 3 Miss Worlds. He still gets his name sung at the club. What a legend!
Still
Di Maria,
scoring.
Sancho,
Nice.
Casemiro, Ronaldo, Onana, and so many others come to this club as world-class players, but eventually turn into complete waste of money. This club is honestly where talent dies. Yeah, but Staffy, it must be the system and the training. Our coaches don't know how to do good drills like other clubs. That must be what it is. Must be what it is. See you at the Emirates. Oh, sorry, already done that one. The bill here. I've got to get through these. There's so many. Thank you. You're so generous. I love you all. Says Man United is a commercial club. Manager can't drop star players based on performance. If the manager fouls this time because the Glazers don't have money to fix it, they waste money. Why does Ten Hag never take responsibility for a defeat? He always has something or someone else to blame. Who's he blame this time then? Because again, he didn't blame anyone for the. Again, I'll be fair. He shouldn't have called Sancho out publicly, but he didn't say we lost because Sancho didn't train hard. So again, we are starting to twist the narrative here a little bit, Black Gunner. Where are those fans who were celebrating the shirt deal? I don't know. The culture at Brighton was non-existent before Potter. The culture at Liverpool was non-existent before Klopp. Managers isn't everything but huge. I hear you on that. Kids called out Arsenal. You never learn.
And I will continue to call out Arsenal.
We haven't spoke on City though, but this here says Doku, Haaland, Alvarez, Pep built quietly. Hamza, you shouldn't have been 1-0 down. You were dominating them. I had the game on, but you came back. Brilliant performance from City today.
Yeah, absolutely amazing City performance. To go to West Ham away is one of the most difficult. The way they're playing, they beat Brighton so easy. Like they beat in 4-1 or something like that, 3 or 4-1. And to me, before I faced them, we had injuries already. We had Grealish out. We had John Stones out. KDB was injured. We had, I think, 4 or 5 injuries already. And we came there even with 2 goalkeepers on the bench. And I was worried. Pep started a lineup of quite short players. I'm not physical players. So I was worried, thinking that Paletta, Souček will bully us. But Pep had the plan. We had them on lock.
Got my small
West Ham
violin
were
out for you, bro. Sorry.
West Ham were very, very, very lucky to get that goal. Very lucky because we had them on lock. They were not going anywhere. We pinned them down and they managed to get that goal. But once we came back, listen, praise to baby Doku. Jeremy Doku was absolutely outstanding. What a performance by a youngster who's only 21 years old. We signed him from Rennes and no one wanted him. And we went for him. And this is what City. We develop players so well. And our manager is so great. Didn't even get time to work with him. And he was absolutely impressive today. Every time he got the ball, he was cooking Kufar. West Ham were under the ropes. We started the game second half. We scored immediately. I knew West Ham were panicking. They knew that's a scoreline for them. And once we got the second goal back, Matthew Nunes came on. The game just changed. And Man City showed why they're dominating. Why we have to congratulate again Pep showing why he's making this league look easy. And no disrespect to anyone. I've been watching Premier League for many years. And I've never seen a team getting dominated. What Pep is doing is just incredible. A coach like this is why I say he's the greatest coach is because of this. You just don't do this. He's absolutely humiliating the Premier League, humbling every single season. The guy is absolutely a winner. This is why I knew once you got the hands on Pep, you trust the manager. You know the guy who's going to get you the win. You know it. It's the guy. For example, let's say, you guys were talking about Glazers. Look, Arsenal wanted Kroenke out. As soon as Arteta comes in, he stabilizes the ship. As soon as Tottenham fans want to leave it out. They get a manager, the right manager. It's completely stable ship. We see the same thing as Liverpool fans.
It's still Levy out, by the way.
That's incorrect.
Yeah, Hamza, I'm sorry, I gotta stop you. That's
So
disingenuous.
you have to give that credit to managers as well.
No,
Like,
the
rather than
managers
coming out
deserve the credit, but that's disingenuous to say, because when Arsenal got Arteta, it wasn't just that it changed. When they switched over to Josh Kroenke to me be the main person running Arsenal, boom, things started to change. When FSG came in, they got Klopp and decided to use Michael Ward and his brethren to funnel to do the football strategic role. Look what happened. The football strategy. Now with Levy and Spurs, they have decided to back Postecoglou and actually go with the vision that they have as a team and as a club. So to say that it's just because the managers have come in and that's why the things turn around. No, it's more than that. Everything behind the scenes has changed. At Man United, nothing changes. When we replace Woodward, we replace it with a guy who works underneath him who part of the same system. As much as I try and give Murta a back-in and not trying to get at him like most fans, he's been at Man United for 10 years as well. We've not had a fresh approach since Fergie's left. So you can't just say it's just a manager.
Question. Can I ask Hamza a question? Hamza.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah. So by your logic then, does Pep Guardiola have the same success that he's had at City if he walked into the Man United team instead of going to City?
I've been asked that question. I think if Pep's the winner, managers like Ferguson have won under Glazers, and Pep Guardiola, they're winners. They would walk into any organization, especially United. If you have the backing of that Ten Hag backing, he's definitely winning, 100%.
No. Specific. Okay, similar to what Terry's saying.
Not
I'm asking
domination, but
specifically.
you win.
I'm specific. That's what I'm saying. So Man United standards is dominant. Yeah, Man City have had that period. If Pep Guardiola, by your standards, comes into this same Manchester United setup with the same situations, because again, by the way, this is not a hate, but this is a genuine realization of what Manchester City have been able to do. Manchester United should be able to do the same. So, for example, when Pep came in, he changed 2 goalkeepers, got a 3rd one. He's had certain signings that he's brought, like Nathan Ake, didn't see a minute of time for whatever, but there was no pressure on that whatsoever. He's had the opportunity to get some signings in and then replace those same signings with the same amount of money spent or more. Manchester United have not been able to do that, any manager that's come in. So do you think Pep comes into this Manchester United team at the same time he went into City and dominates the same way he has been able to at City?
I think the difference. I've seen him what he did at Barcelona when he took a youth Busquets from Barcelona B and decided to dump Yaya Toure. I've seen him dumping Eto'o and getting Pedro from the youth team.
But can you answer the question then? Would he have won? Would he have won as many trophies?
He wouldn't have won many trophies, but he would have won the Premier League, at least 2 Premier League. I believe his talent.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I think he might have won in the last 7. I think if he was the manager of Man United, Pep, over the last 7-8 years, I think he might have won 2. But I don't think he wins, does a 3-peat. I don't think he does a treble. I don't think he does a domestic treble. I don't think he gets 100 odd points. What you also said earlier, you said Fergie, they're winners everywhere they went. It took Fergie 5.5, 6 years to rebuild Man United. And again, his job was different. He was the manager of the football club. So he did what modern day footballing directors do as well as coaches. So he couldn't win with Man United straight away. He had to fix something that had been broken for over 20 years. So I get where you're coming from. And like with Spurs, I think young Daniel said it perfectly with Spurs. It's a great start, but most Spurs fans know to get to where they want to be, there's still a long way to go. You know, there's going to be bumps in today. If it wasn't for that great comeback, today would have been a bump in the road. There'd be a very different feeling today, you know, and they were very good today, Spurs. But just look at some back of the highlights since they've been on here. They deserve to win the match, even though they won it late. Yeah, it was crazy. But yeah, I get where you're coming from, Hamza. Sunshine, don't be Glazer out whilst you're wearing the shirt. Even if it's a fake one, it is free advertising. Just shut up, shameless, is what Nabil says to you, bruv.
Interesting. I mean, again, like I said, even talking about Man United as promotion, so wherever you go is promotion. For me personally, I stick on the angle that there are people who will support certain levels. I can never tell a person how to support their club or their situation, but the reality of it is Man United is not Halifax Town, so therefore the community of Manchester United could never actually stand together and actually never buy a thing. So for me, I'm happy to buy replicas because nothing goes into the club, and I'll continue to do that. That's standard procedure for me.
There we go. Nabil says, Hamza, will you go back to supporting Arsenal ever?
I was not going to. This guy, leave me alone, man. Let me enjoy my
leave him alone. Leave him alone. Brighton should challenge for the top 4. Listen, what the commentator watching the stream I was watching said he thinks Brighton are in the title race this year. He thinks that's how good they are.
What commentator was that?
I was watching. I don't know. It's Satanta Sports in
I did hear that as well. I did hear that as well.
Yeah, I think that's a bit much because of who City are, but they're in the top 4 race. They are in the top 5 race. They are there. They are there, bro.
Brighton are in the title race, then we're in a title race.
That's what I'm saying. Like, if they're in the title race, Spurs are in one too, bro. Don't worry about that.
Terry has on Never a Foul said, if you don't win today, questions need to be asked of Ten Hag. What's your feelings on that one? Big up you and everyone. We spoke about it a lot on the show, King. I understand it and I get it. I can't help but look at the bigger picture. And maybe for people that have only come to socials in the last year or two, they don't feel the same as me. But when you know what's funny about you younger people in general is that when you have less life experience, you react to things differently. I remember when all the protests were happening during lockdown. Some of it was for BLM, some of it was for literally lockdown, everything else. I remember saying to my dad, I've never seen the country like this. And I hadn't. My dad's like, well, I'm nearly 70. I've seen this happen 3 times in the last 70 years. It wasn't like a big shock to the older generation because they've seen this stuff before. So for me, I understand the knee-jerk reaction is to say, I've criticized him, yes. Sack the manager, a new guy will make us better. I still say this, though, and you won't get this on TalkSport. Rivals don't want to hear this because it doesn't suit the narrative. If we ignore the root cause problems, sacking managers, selling players, buying new ones does not solve the issue. Does not solve the issue. Taking paracetamol to get rid of a brain tumor will never work. You won't have a headache for a little while, but it will never solve the problem, my friend. But look, they're right to question Ten Hag, no doubt about it, but bigger issue. By the way, Johnson was robbed of a debut goal, came on and finished it so clinically. He's going to score on the break against Arsenal or Liverpool. Book it.
It was offsides. To be fair,
were you impressed with his cameo today, Jacob, from Johnson?
I think he showed us all the things that we saw as fans looking in at his Nottingham performances, which was he can get in behind. He's got blistering pace, obviously second fastest in the league last year. Honestly, didn't look like the moment was too big for him. I'm a little bit glad that he didn't actually get the debut goal because in past times, players come in and they get the debut goal, and then that's the expectation. Anytime you touch the ball, we expect you to score. With the likes of Steven Bergwijn, that happened. He scored his debut versus City, I believe. And then fans, anytime he didn't contribute to a goal and assist, it became, oh, well, you did it on your debut, so no excuse here. And I like the fact that he came on. The moment didn't look too big. He didn't look too upset either. He kind of knew he was offside just a little bit. I think if they do change that offside rule, we'll see goals like that just happen to go through because he would have been offsides if they do go forward with that new rule they're rumored to go with. But Brennan Johnson, I honestly wondered if he was going to start because that was Ange Postecoglou's #1 priority in the at the end of the window there. And if that is true, you have to assume that he already has some kind of plan and idea with what he wants to do with that player and how he's going to fit in. Honestly, as a super sub coming in after Kulusevski has worked at the left back for 60, 70 minutes, that's kind of the perfect idea, is to have a kid with blistering pace who can finish. He did look a little shaky in his international break for Wales, but overall, very much pleased. I think that he impressed in a lot of different areas, and he showed. There was a moment where I was like, oh, Brennan, why'd you do that? But he won the ball back, and it was this moment, right, kind of if you're the goalkeeper for Sheffield, it was to his left corner of the box, is at the top right there. And there's a moment where there's 2 different defenders, and it looked like he could have been soft with the ball. And he really stuck with the play and was able to retain possession. There's some bright things I saw from the kid, and nothing really to harp on that I didn't like.
Do you know what's really interesting about it? They say when champions, it's an MMA thing. They say when a guy wins a belt, they say typically they believe there's a 20 to 30% improvement in that fighter. That can sometimes happen to players. Mane, when he joined Liverpool, the improvement in him instantly was palpable. So I'm very intrigued to see whether Brendan Johnson is one of those individuals that goes to a bigger team, a better team, and you just see like an elevation of his standards. So yeah, it's going to be an intriguing one to watch. This here says fair play to Hamza. He is a diehard City fan, supported them the day they came back against Gillingham. Was at Wembley with Big Steve singing Blue Moon, is what Paul says. Jerome here, who's a Tottenham fan, hope you're well, brother. He says the City fan has to be the most patient person. He's not said a single word for ages. I'm sorry to Spurs. And listen, there was a point today where I was like, all three of us are going to lose. Fuck's sake. When Spurs were going to lose, I was like, at least I'm not the only one who's miserable today.
Hey, I was watching the game with my grandma and she went insane. And I've never seen a scream like that in ages.
Nice. When else did grandma scream, generally?
You don't want to know.
My big nan, her name was Big Nan. She didn't scream, but she just had a way of telling you off that was scary, bro. Like scary to my dad. Do you all miss David in goal? Look, I think he might have saved some of these shots. But it's a narrative. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah,
maybe.
David being in goal doesn't stop us from losing the games that we've lost. I think it's a club thing.
Maybe a couple less goals conceded, but I think we still lose some of these matches.
Doesn't concede that third goal, but that's
that third one. Yeah, 100%.
Next week will be a date to the match. When Arsenal. Next week will be till date the most even match between Arsenal and Spurs.
It ain't gonna be even.
I mean, we'll find out next week. If that's
I'm looking forward to that one. At least that's the game I don't have to worry about. Sunshine question.
We're not losing that match, by the way, Terry. I know you're reading a super chat.
I love this confidence.
We're not losing that match.
We're not losing as Arsenal. AJ, clip it up, baby.
It's time. We need to
Nabil here says Sunshine question. What's the main problem at Man United?
It's quite evident our owners have been for the longest. But I'm assuming I don't want you to waste your money spending more. Sorry, Terry. So again, to your point, it's a case of our owners will always and forever be our biggest issue. The reality of the situation you're trying to push out there is that our fan base is too big to all pull in the same direction. So I live in reality world and go, I will put my money on nothing on Manchester United. If I get tickets, it's for free. If I get into a box, it's for free. My shirts will always be replicas. If most of our fan base actually chose replicas over actually funding the stocks of United, we'd be in a better position. But again, that's not for me. So don't waste no more money on that, broski.
I hear you, bro. I can't pronounce the guy's name. Is it Belander going goal? I wouldn't drop Onana right now, personally, Lucy. But thank you for the super.
No, bro.
I wouldn't do that just yet. Put fresh fruit in a molded and rotten box and it will be rotten in an instant. As long as we have the Glazers, players will go to bad, so to speak. I agree. I completely agree with that. I know rivals don't, but it's simple. Like, Terry, if you'd swap Edison for Onana, who would have a better season? Who would have had Onana would look better in the City system, and Alisson would come to Man United and within a few months wouldn't look as good. Mo Salah would come to Man United and his GA would drop significantly. KDB, if he came to Man United 3 or 4 years ago, he'd have started how Bruno did and then it'd have dwindled in the same way.
I disagree. I think if we got Salah, it's different. That's the one I can't agree. I get what you're trying to say, but
I truly listen. I think if Pep came here, he'd win us some things, but he wouldn't win like he's winning at City and Barca and Bayern Munich. I think that the greats would still score goals here. Rashford scores goals here, but I just don't think they would do as well as better teams. Personally, I really don't. But there we go. I know everyone wants to speak a little bit more about all their clubs and teams, but we're an hour and a half in, and I'm almost done. I'm really sorry, Jacob and Dan and that we'd speak much more about your teams. I'm very sorry, but this happens every now and then on these shows. We've got 3 bloody teams on at the same time. Hang on, it's a Spurs super chat. Terry, you're waffling. Okay, look, if you don't believe that to be true, then you don't believe it. This is what I would say to you though. I get called on waffling when Staffy says we've ruined every top player that's come in because the managers and the systems and the club. Every good player comes in, we ruin. Then when I say, I completely agree with that it's all on us as a club that ruined them. I think some of it's them. But then when I say if top players and managers came here, they'd regress, you say I'm waffling. So do we ruin players or do we not ruin players? Like, again, consistency here, please. Spurs do this every single year. They start well, been good for 5 games. They have all the chest. Look, they're talking about Arsenal, need humbling, ironic.
It's different this time. It's different this time because it's actually don't
No,
laugh.
he's right.
Don't do
It
that.
is
Don't
different.
do that.
No,
It's different this time because last season. Yeah, okay, come on. If you don't see the difference, then
No. It's not because I'm not saying it's not different, but it sounds like when the guy.
I know what it
keeps dating the
sounds
same
like.
kind of
Sounds like
girl.
little boy who cry wolf.
You know when the guy dates the same kind of girl and she always screws him over, and his friends are telling him, "Bro,
This time she's different,
the same
bro.
kind of girl you've dated. It's different
No,
this time.
she's
bro."
different this time, bro. But she's legit different this time. I mean
We're
it.
actually united as a football club, man.
That's that.
Like,
It just
you don't
sounds
understand
like
how
that. I'm not saying it's not different.
I
You guys go
honestly
for it.
rather
I can fix her.
going into the North London derby, I rather this game end up how it did. Like we scored 2 goals in the last minute, the club is united, than us just rocking them 8-0. I rather this game end like this.
Oh, bruv.
Going into the Arsenal game.
Yeah. Do you know what's interesting though? That I'll say you wouldn't, right? Because I've beaten Arsenal 8-2, and that's like in terms of excitement, winning last minute's amazing. But when you beat a team like that, there is, again, not as long as certain fans are trying to make their one live on for, but for a good few weeks, it's just like, yeah, like that's a mad feeling to have. But yeah, I do love last minute winners. There's something about them that's special. Listen, I want to thank everybody that's tuned in today, everyone who's hit the like button so far, everyone who's super chatted. You people are amazing. My panelists today, Cam and Staffy, KJ, Sunshine, Jacob, Ben, Hamza. Who else was here today that's now gone? Who? Deezy was here as well. Sam, who's here but hasn't spoke. He's a Liverpool fan. I'm not letting him talk. It's not happening. I'm gonna be Robert Mugabe right now and say no. You ain't 100%. Listen, people, we're back tomorrow with more content for you. Take care. Goodbye. God bless. And I'll see you all again soon. Peace.